Hey, Walter Sorrells back with another Knife Makers Friday 5. Today, the demise of the blue shirt. For those of you who aren't longtime followers of the channel, my Friday 5s are intended to catch you up on things that I've got in the works, behind the scenes stuff, viewer questions, stuff that doesn't fit into my usual, kind of how-to format. Anyway, couple of announcements here. First, a momentous announcement. Well, okay, for me anyway. The blue shirt right here. I've mentioned on a live stream a few months ago that I was going to be phasing out the blue shirt. Yep, really doing it. Longtime viewers know that I've worn this or several other variants and precursors of it for over a decade on YouTube. In fact, I went back and I looked it up, and the first time that I wore one of these blue shirts was on August 30th, 2009. Unbelievable. The original idea was pretty simple. It was just, that a lot of my builds take several days, and so I wanted some visual continuity. So, this just happened to be in my closet, whatever. Anyway, it sort of became my trademark, and I just kept on with it. Anyway, I'm going to be making some changes in the channel, some changes in my shop, some changes maybe in my business model. We'll see. But anyway, you'll see all of that kind of coming to pass over the next 6-8 months. And I just figured, it's time to change the shirt along with all that other stuff. So the idea is that I'll chop up this shirt and a couple of its clones and some of the old ones that are sitting around in my drawers, and I'm going to make them into micarta. Then I'll make a limited edition series of knives, probably just like 3 or 4 knives, and I'll give them blue micarta handles. So anyway, if you want to own one of the kind of humble aspects of the history of this channel, just keep an eye out for that. I've been wearing this shirt for so long that I guess it's kind of close to my heart in a silly kind of way. All right, another quick note, getting into the merch business. I don't make much profit on these things, but over the years, a lot of guys have said to me, hey, I don't have enough scratch to buy one of your swords or whatever, but it would be cool to have a t-shirt. So anyway, with that spirit in mind, I got some mugs and t-shirts and all that junk down below if you feel like having one of those. I got Walter Sorrells blades and Tactics Armory. For those of you who haven't been following me for a million years, WalterSorrellsBlades.com is where all my Japanese sword stuff and kind of video HQ on the web. And then Tactics Armory is my lineup of mid-tech, tactical, utility knives, all that kind of thing. Like I said, got t-shirts, mugs, bunch of other crap. So down there if you want some of that. Finally, along similar lines, those of you who've been following me for a long time probably know that I have a series of videos about making Japanese swords that I sell on my website in DVD form. Of course, I originally produced them on DVD, and that was well before YouTube was even a thing. So the news here is that, look, I know a lot of you guys don't even have DVD players anymore. So I'm finally going to be making them. Available for download, and of course, you can still buy them on DVD. So a little history on that, if you're into that sort of thing. The way that I originally got into video making was as follows. So I think it was like 15, 20 years ago. I used to get just zillions of people writing me basically the same email. Dude, how do you make your hamones? So, I really started out in the Japanese sword world, and a lot of people thought my hamones were pretty cool looking, and so they would write me asking about it. Now, this is a very complicated subject, but being the super nice guy that I am, I'd write back with these long emails explaining in a lot of detail how I made my hamones on my swords. So after doing this for several years, finally I was like, this is kind of ridiculous. I mean, I'm taking hours and hours out of my life repeating the same thing over and over to a whole bunch of people. So why don't I just shoot this little video, I'll sell it for like $5, and I'll stop these endless questions. So I shot the video, and being the obsessive guy that I am, the video ended up being just way higher quality and having a lot more information in it than I originally intended. So, I had to charge a little bit more money for it. But anyway, I went on to do more about forging katanas, making fittings, mounting Japanese swords, polishing them, all this stuff. And a few years later, this YouTube thing appeared, and so I was like, well, hey, let me stick some little short excerpts from these videos on this YouTube thing. So I figured I'll see if these, kind of help drive some sales. I didn't think much about it, came back a few months later, and they're like 100,000 views. And needless to say, I hadn't sold 100,000 videos in the meantime, so I was like, huh? I mean, it seems like people are just watching this stuff that I stuck on the internet just for amusement or to learn something. I mean, I couldn't really figure it out. So, I started doing more videos, and very quickly I started wearing this blue shirt. So, all of a sudden, I got millions of people watching this stuff, and this was before anybody had come up with the word influencer. You can't get ad revenue, any of that sort of stuff. I was just doing it for fun. And, to kind of develop some awareness so that people would buy a few of my knives or my swords or whatever. And that just, took on a life of its own. Obviously, I've been doing these things for almost 15 years now. But anyway, last few years, I've kind of been wrestling with which is the tail and which is the dog here. Is the tail wagging the dog, whatever, so in terms of YouTube versus knife making itself. So I'm not sure where that's all going to lead, but one thing I can tell, pretty soon, this right here will be gone, and a couple of 3 of you guys will be walking around wearing knives made out of this shirt. It's a weird world, isn't it? In the meantime, if you've been waiting on the downloadable versions of my Japanese sword videos, check them out at waltersorrelsblades.com. I'll be putting together my viewer knife video for this year pretty soon. For those of you who haven't seen them in the past, they're just a chance for, folks who watch this channel to kind of show off knives that they've made this year. It's really one of my favorite things every year. So, whether it's your first knife or whether you're a pro, if you picked up something helpful from this channel over the years, just shoot us a photo of a knife that kind of represents where you're at as a knife maker. I'll release the video in January, so that's giving you about a month to get some photos to me. Just email them to the address down below. All right, see you guys soon, and keep making those knives. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what we're doing here, please subscribe and make sure that you click on that bell so you get notified of all the latest videos. Want to buy a knife from me? Check out my modern blades at tacticsarmory.com. Digging the channel? You can support our video making efforts on Patreon. I've been banging away on these videos for like 10 years. So I hope you'll show some love for all that hard work. Link in the cards and descriptions. Finally, if you're interested in making Japanese swords, check out my full line of Japanese sword videos where I show how to forge Japanese swords as well as how to polish them and how to make fittings, handles, and scabbards. waltersorrelsblades.com.